but that very well could be the future of Jaden Ivey if he doesn't develop other parts of his game outside of the athletic gifts that he has.
I think that's how how he rose his draft stock, like to be to the point where the Pistons would take him. That's how he was so good in college, is just because he was so reliant on his speed, which is crazy because he is a blur. The man is very fast and he can be very hard to guard. But if you're leaving him open for uncontested threes that he can't knock down only like 28% of the time, he's not going to be a threat anywhere in the NBA, I don't think. Now, there might be a lot of teams that could be contenders that maybe are looking for his type of play. So maybe we could get draft value or trade value out of him. But I don't know. I still think you give him another year. I want to see what else he has, because 1 year into the league, I don't think you should completely judge a player quite yet. I kind of want to see him in the system, maybe with a new coach, whether we do it or we don't, with a new front runner in the organization and leading the charge. I think we give Ivy another chance. Maybe not as a starter, depending on how we go with the draft or who we pick up in free agency. But I still think that he could actually be a good piece of this team. Because he wants to win. Didn't you guys talk about that interview? He doesn't really care if he's coming off the bench or he's starting. The dude's a winner. He just wants to win games.
No, and that's why I want him to succeed in Detroit. I love that mentality from a player where, look, I'm willing to put the individual stuff on hold, for the betterment of the team. And that's great, but then develop the skill set that's helped the team to win. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's why I say give him more time, because you don't know in one offseason. It could be different. Him coming next year, he could be shooting 35, 37% from three. We don't know. So we give him opportunity.
You're right. There is a sophomore slump. That is a real thing. That's why they call it a sophomore slump. And I believe I'm actually directly quoting Steve that said that when I was on on the Res Ball podcast. It's just, I don't know if I really see it. I don't know if it's something that I'm willing to. I guess it's like this. Do the Pistons have time to let Jaden Ivey have that Kobe White type career where the first few years, like I said, you're kind of puttering around, putting up good numbers, but it's just not all clicking. Everything that goes on with the Pistons organization right now is on Cade's timeline, because he is a bona fide all-star talent in the NBA. So you're on his timeline. You want to get this right. You don't want, Jaden Ivey to figure it out 3 or 4 years from now and then Cade say, all right, I'm out, because then you're basically where you're at right now. So the question for me is, do you find someone to replace Jaden Ivey and let him continue to develop off the bench? Or do you just say, hey, we're going to try to let Jaden Ivey and Cade Cunningham figure this out for the next few seasons because we have time? I guess that's kind of the question I'm looking at. But
no, I don't. Well, I don't think that that's what you do. I don't think you see if they have time to develop, because we don't have a whole lot of time to be good. We want to start winning now. It looks as if we're starting to make those moves to try to start bettering this team to not be the worst team in the NBA. So I don't think you don't give him the opportunity to be like sink or swim. I don't think you put him in that situation. I think you give it to the point where you bring him off the bench, and as he progresses and shows that he's gotten better and maybe the skills that he lacked of last year, if they start to progress, then maybe you can start inserting him to the starting lineup. But I don't think you move on from him yet. I don't think it's time yet for him to move away. I think he actually cares about the organization. I think he wants to be better. Maybe the coaching was the issue. We don't know. So I think in due time, we'll figure it out. I think you give Jaden Ivey 1 more year, and if he's everything that we saw last year, then I think you go ahead and you move on from it. But giving him the opportunity to start next to Cade, if we draft a guard or we bring in a guard like Zach LaVine, I don't think that's what you do with Jaden Ivey, because we're still have a bad taste in our mouth of him not having success with Cade. So I think if you run him off the bench, and he will get minutes with Cunningham, depending on foul trouble, depending on how they rotate, whatever's on Monty's little fucking card of rotation sheets, he'll get minutes, yes or no, on it. But I don't think you break it up quite yet. I know in due time, I think there'll be a team that would like him and what he brings to the table. So, but 1 more year with Jaden, I don't have a problem with it. I think you give him and Cade time, because I think Cade actually wants to be successful with him. I don't think, because neither of them really hated on it. Granted, I don't think you go to the public and say, I don't like playing with this guy. But we can see how genuine they are with each other and see how they want to play off each other, at least for 1 more year.